Well, folks, I'm with Jim Karahalios. He is the leader of the New Blue Party of Ontario, and Jim is not a happy camper today, and understandably so. Jim, as I understand it, the rules of the debate were you need a candidate in every riding, and you need an elected MPP. That applies to you, but then somebody, as part of the cabal here, said, check the fine print. The candidate that's elected had to run under the current banner he or she has run under in the past. The first question is, did they change the rules in the bottom of the ninth inning?
Well, they released their own rules publicly, online, 4 or 5 days ago. They said a candidate in every riding and an elected MPP. Belinda Karahalios running for re-election in Cambridge. But then what they really reveal is they don't have rules, Dave. They just make it up as they go along, and they want the Liberals on the debate stage, two candidates short of a full slate, and they don't want the New Blue Party because they don't want to give Ontarians another option. And we've got 4 boring parties, and it's going to be a boring debate. They're all going to do their best to copy Justin Trudeau and Justin's best friend on the debate stage. So as you can see, we got candidates and supporters here on Yonge Street today, raising awareness and letting the establishment media know you can't get away with it forever.
And Jim, what do you think is the ostensible policy reason or the unspoken strategy to keep you out of the debate? I guess, in other words, what are they afraid of in having you taking part in this debate?
I think it's quite simple. The same reason CTV and Global's been ignoring Belinda for a couple of years on a variety of issues, whether it's standing up and voting no to critical race theory, being the first to stand up and vote against the lockdowns. We were the first to register 124 candidates. CTV put out this fake news article saying, in fact, it was the PCs that registered 124, ignoring us. So I don't think they want to raise awareness to the New Blue Party. They definitely don't like the fact that we're talking about defunding the establishment media, getting rid of the Toronto Star's online gambling license, which is a lifeline from the Ford PCs, and of course, the $100 million of taxpayer money that goes to fund the political operations of these establishment parties. They don't like that we're talking about that stuff, and they want to shut it down and silence us and not give Ontario voters another option. Exactly.
And Jim, some people will say, well, if it's a private venue, they can make up the rules, but I would say this is not a private venue. TVO is a taxpayer-funded TV network. I don't even know why it's in existence, quite frankly, much like the CBC. Many politicians talk about defunding that, but they always skip over TVO. So surely the fact that this is owned by the taxpayer, including you, that should be reason for your inclusion, don't you think?
And some of the establishment media gets taxpayer money federally. So they want it both ways. They want to dip into the taxpayer trough, public trough, and get that funding to keep them in operation. But then when they have their debate, they say we're a private operation. Unfortunately, we're making the time to take them to court, because by the time we would have gotten in front of a judge, the debate would have been over. And you can't get much relief for things that happened in the past in the political context. But yeah, they want it both ways. But here's the good news. We've got a great party platform, the New Blueprint. We've got 124 candidates. We were expecting that the media was going to do the best to ignore us. And our candidates are out there canvassing, putting up signs every day, and spreading the message. Thank you very much. And every step we take, we gain momentum. There's no elevator, there's no shortcut, but the numbers are going up, and they've consistently gone up for a year and a half for us. And we're only a week and a half into this election campaign, and we're doing very, very well. And Belinda's doing very well in her own riding in Cambridge, going to re-election. We've got 2.5 weeks left, and every day more signs go up. More Ontarians pick up and say, what's going on? There's a new option here. Finally, thankfully, there's a new option.
And Jim, to pick up on something you said about the media ignoring you, every member of the mainstream media is here today, whether they like you or not. This is surely a sidebar story, the fact that you're kicked out, you're having this little demonstration here. Has any one of them come up to you, like I am right now, and asking for your side of the story?
Well, we had one establishment media, good on them. A couple of them dodged us, like they've been dodging us for a year and a half. And what they're really doing is reinforcing something. They are saying that the establishment political parties, like the PCs, can rig internal nominations, can rig internal conventions, can clamp down on democracy. Doug Ford picks all his PC candidates, right? And they can kick Belinda out for voting what they say is the wrong way on one bill, the lockdown bill, and exclude them and shut everyone out of the democratic process that disagrees with the establishment parties. And the establishment media is saying, we're going to let them get away with that by silencing when people like Jim and Belinda and thousands of members and donors start a new party. We're just going to pretend like they don't exist. And that's the real tragedy because keeping Doug Ford and the PCs accountable for betraying voters is what the New Blue Party is step one of the New Blue Party, and we're going to keep giving Ontarians another option going forward, whether the establishment media likes it or not.
And Jim, there was another debate in Northern Ontario last week. Surprisingly, Premier Ford was the only leader that did not take questions post-debate. What do you think the strategy there is?
Well, up north they set the same rules. It was based on supposedly if you're elected in 2018 and you're part of a party, but we're running in the 2022 election, not the 2018 election.
Oh, but I mean, Doug
And they
Ford
keep
not
looking
taking
backwards,
questions
right?
after the debate. Yeah.
And, well, that's been consistent for 4 years now. Doug doesn't want to be held accountable. He made a series of promises to the north and to all of Ontario on what he was going to do as premier. And he reversed course and betrayed everybody, his entire 2.3 million voters, and not just on COVID policy. Largest deficits ever, no tax relief, hydro rates have gone up, wind turbines, the largest wind turbine project in Eastern Ontario, and of course, voting in favor of critical race theory. He is the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do, and of course he wouldn't want to take questions and not have a debate against me to hold him accountable.
One last question, Jim, and I'm going to ask you for a prediction. I mean, the polls are showing the Ford PCs ahead, and maybe that's the strategy for him not taking questions post-debate. They don't want Ford to fall into a trap of a gotcha question. I'm just speculating. But on the other hand, there are those that say there's a sort of a weird vibe in the air, and it's kind of like 1990. Nobody predicted a Bob Rae NDP government. That, people woke up in shock in Ontario. What do you think is going to happen on June 2nd?
We still have 2.5 weeks to go, and we're farther ahead than we thought we'd be a week and a half in this election campaign. Even some of the establishment pollsters are having a tough time hiding the fact that we're picking up steam in southwestern Ontario, and in northern Ontario, the other option is in now over 10%, and these are establishment pollsters who are not very friendly to the message that we have in our party platform, the New Blueprint. 2.5 weeks. We still have lots of time. Every day that lawn signs go up, every day that our canvassers are out there knocking on doors, more and more Ontarians are paying attention. There's another option. They're being provided awareness to another option, and so I don't know where the limit is to our outreach, but we're just going to get out there and keep canvassing, and we're going to send Belinda back to Queen's Park and send some New Blue MPPs with.
That's right.
Yes.